Well, ladies and gentlemen, now for the last session of the day, a masterclass with the amazing Mr. Anil Srinivasan. He's already here on stage with me, an accomplished classical pianist, the first to be awarded the coveted Sangeet Natak Akademi Youth Award in 2010 for creative and experimental music, India's national honor for musicians under 35. He has been a TED speaker, chaired conferences on music in venues as diverse as Liverpool Hope University and the University of Mumbai, and has represented India across multiple forums involving arts education. So over to you, Mr. Srinivasan.
Apart from being a musician, I work with a lot of children. At present count, I work with 336,000 children. What is scary is that 336,000 children are being taught by me. That's very, very scary. Okay? The other advantage or disadvantage of having to follow people like Nandita Das and Kaveri Bamzai on stage is that I have to be witty and I have to make up for my lack of intelligence with humor. So that's what you're going to have to have. The reason we asked for Tagore in the dark is because light tends to reflect off my head. So anyway, on that rather colorful introduction, take a tune like this. Okay, you don't have to make the dark now. I will tell you when to make it dark. You can still have the lights. Oh no. I will tell you when to make it dark. I know I've given them confusing instructions. So we know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay, so I played. So this I played. Let me play this. We all know this one? Which one is it? Okay, which movie is it from? Oh, Shiki 2. And Chokar Mere Man Ko is... Which film do we know? And what is that? Shape of You is by... So now tell me who wrote Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. मैं तो जानता था. Twinkle, Twinkle, you think is a nursery rhyme, it's for children, we don't need to know who wrote it. Okay? Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, this is from 1765, the longevity of music. See, nowadays governments don't last for 9 hours. This is a tune that has lasted for 265 years. Okay? Pretty cool, no? The power of music. Think about it. Here the lights also don't stay for more than 5 minutes. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, this little boy called Mozart, and he was about 9 years old, and they sent him into this room. I mean, in those days also they had these reality show type things, and they said, you need to compose something that should be considered a masterpiece, and there was a panel of judges, very similar to what you see on Indian Idol, except much nicer. And, no, definitely it was better than Indian Idol, I promise. And this child, they gave him 3 hours, and they said, in this 3 hours, you've got to compose something that could be considered a masterpiece. So this child goes into that room, and he tells his dad, who was a very dominating dad, we were just talking about moms and dads just now. And he says, okay, if I finish it faster, will you let me go out and play? Because there's a little girl outside that I think I like very much, and I want to go play with her. Don't let your imagination go any further than that. Okay? So the father says, okay, fine. This boy, what has been given 3 hours, he finishes in 47 minutes. He composed not 1 or 2, but 32 variations and the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So what is a variation, right? So he made this possible, right? So we all know the main tune. You could say, it's a nursery rhyme, what's the big deal? The big deal is that it has lasted 300 years. Okay? I don't remember what last year's hits were, but this has been a hit for 260 years. But he composed 32 variations. What's a variation? Variation 1 is... That's a variation, okay? What is variation? I'll play the third variation. See, so somebody there is getting very excited about this. Oh, it's a cell phone. Okay, we will talk about cell phones in a little bit. Where's the anchor? Now you know why I said I'll put what I will put on slides. Okay, 9-year-old boy composing like that. And I'll tell you what else is great about it. This tune, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, can be combined with any tune in the world. Meaning, we could take anything, right? I could take... Okay, so the reason I'm playing this and showing this is, okay, finally the people in the back are actually looking up from their phones. I have won my first victory. It is much better and much nicer to listen to than your latest hashtag trending on Howdy Modi. I'm telling you right now. Okay? This little boy of 9 is what we would call a genius in any other description. Nowadays, if a child goes on a reality show and sings a song exactly the way the playback singer has sung it, we call that child a genius. Standards have come down. Just like CBSE marks have gone up. It's true. In my day, 75% was considered excellent marks in English. Nowadays, they get 100%. Kaveri, how is 100% possible? I asked them, how do you do an essay question? They said, well, it's the same format. It's a letter to the editor. We mug it up and write it. But back in the day, this was considered genius. The reason everyone, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and everybody in between, that I'm saying this is the power of music. A, it is permanent. 2, it is lasting. 3, it produces, conjures so many of these amazing possibilities, variations. It is what makes the human being tick. I will stop by saying one research statistic because I did do a PhD in cognitive neuroscience, so I like throwing statistics out at people. When there is a sentence of medium complexity is saying, Mr. Chawla, Mrs. Lakshmi are both sitting in the front row and listening to me, is a complex sentence because there are at least 2 or more objects in that sentence to remember. Think back to 6th standard English. Research says that when I say this, it's about 30 neurotransmitters getting fired up in the brain. When I write it, about 300 neurotransmitters. When I sing it, any guesses? 280,000 neurotransmitters are getting on your brain. So I'm going to make you do an exercise. I should have done this right at the beginning because Mr. Chawla has seen this before and he likes it. So can you put your phones down for a second? Kaveri especially. Just rub your hands like this. It's a cold room. Okay? Take your hands up. To the left, including the gentleman who's looking very crossly at me. I promise I won't make you do anything serious. To the right, to the front, hands apart. I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. On 3, you should clap. Okay? 1. 1. Okay. We know who you are. Okay, 1, 2. I did not say it. I did not say it. And this is the problem with today. We are always fast forwarding to the last page. You want to jump to where the answers are. Let me look up 3E. This is the problem. Okay? I do this exercise with kindergartners in the schools I work with. They do it correctly. By the time they're in the 3rd standard, they're clapping on 2. By the time they're in the 11th standard, like you, they're clapping even before I finish speaking. What are we doing wrong in education? That will form a large crux of what I speak about tomorrow. But let's do this exercise again. This time you know what to do. Rub your hands up, left. Okay, some people here have difficulties in left. Okay, your left, your right, front, hands apart. People who are having left-right problems, please don't drive. Okay? 1, 2. I knew it. It's getting better. It's getting better. India is getting better one step at a time. Let's make this also in India. Come on. Okay? 1, 2, 3. A community that can sound itself together can stay together. A community that can stay together will make a difference to the world. Please remember to do that. Okay? Now, I've given you now the background. I've got your attention. So let me tell you about why I'm going to do Concert in the Dark. So I told you I work with over 3 lakh children. Last year, I was very privileged that there was this home called Jnana Darshan, which is a home for visually challenged girl children between the age of 6 and 16, which is very vulnerable, as you know. And they're visually challenged, and almost all of them are orphans. And they invited me to come and spend the night before Diwali with them. And I thought it was a privilege. I'm going to go there, say a few nice things, have some fun, have some sweets, come back. I took some gifts, all of these things. What I did not realize is that that one evening is probably going to change my entire life. And I'm going to try and use that effect to change yours. Diwali is the most traumatizing festival for individuals who are visually challenged. I don't even need to tell you why. Our society, we were just talking about, I don't think our society respects women enough, to be frank. A society that can actually respect its women is a civilized society. We are not yet quite there. There needs to be more outrage. Because there are all of these boys, these neighborhood boys, who take special pleasure in going and bursting crackers right outside their window just to traumatize them even more. This is our society. There are other boys who film it. And there are other boys who share it. And there's the 4th person who actually starts looking at that and forwarding it on their WhatsApp. This is the society we have built. And when this happened, I said, okay, so they've now made me a patron of that home. And I said, what can I do to help? And so, I mean, yeah, I can be a bully. That I can be, that's easy, right? But that's just that one home. What about such people everywhere in the country? What about visually challenged women? What do we do? And therefore, last year, I started this series of concerts across Tamil Nadu, and I called it Concert in the Dark, where I would blindfold myself and I would play. And then looking at me blindfolding myself, people would come and say, why are you doing that unless it's a stunt? And I would say, this is why. And we managed to raise about 17.5 lakhs in about 4 concerts for that particular home. But that's not an achievement. There's a lot more that needs to be done. And since we are about a month to the festive season, I thought, rather than just talk about how fun music is, which it is, let me ask you to sample that experience, right? So I cannot ask 200 and 300 people in this room to blindfold yourself. Instead, now I can ask you to turn the lights off. For the rest of this performance, you're going to actually only watch me. I'm also going to blindfold myself. And I'm going to play Rabindranath Tagore. And I'm going to be playing songs from the Gitanjali. It's just as a medley. And I'm also going to be experiencing in the dark. It is my sincere request to you to not look at your phones. If you can spend 7 minutes to 10 minutes in empathy with people who really cannot see, you would have changed something about yourself. I will repeat that. If you can spend 7 to 10 minutes without your sight, it will change something about you. There are many of us who actually have sight and yet we do not see. So if in this endeavor, and Tagore, I'm going to end by playing Ekla Chalore because I think that's the most appropriate thing to play. But spend this next 10 minutes listening to that. I'm going to give you 2 thoughts on this. Somebody told me this recently and I thought it was a great thing to do. What is the first thing you do in the morning as soon as you get up? Most of us are reaching for our phones. Actually, some of us are sleeping with our phones. A person who sleeps with a phone, by the way, is called a phony person. But instead, actually smile. If you can see and hear and speak, and if you can actually have a physically normal life, smile. For 20 seconds, I can tell you it's made me a happier person to be grateful to that. We crib so much. So many people are reaching out half asleep and fighting on Facebook. So this Diwali, this festive season, I want to leave you with Tagore in the Dark because I want to gift this to you. This is my offering to you. Music is the best gift you can give someone else because it will stay with you forever. But take this next 10 minutes in the dark. I will also blindfold myself and I shall play Tagore for you. I hope that some of us were in the dark. I'm just going to summarize in just three things that I want us to take away. Music, there's a very famous quote. This is Virgil Thompson when he says, whatever other deceptions life may have in store for you, music in itself will never let you down. If you really think about your life from the day you were born till today and you subtract music from it, your life is not going to be the same. If you think about the time from the day you were born till now and you subtract the laws of thermodynamics from it, your life can be quite the same, in fact better. High time we started realizing the importance of music as a leveler. When some of you close your eyes and listen to music, I don't think you're even aware, but physically you're changing. I do this exercise when I ask people to close their eyes and listen to music, and they're all rocking themselves. Some are dancing. Some are allowing their minds to wander. It's a very happy space. I realize working with the visually challenged that music becomes the language through which they can actually interpret the same world that you can. And in fact, their world is far more colorful than yours. And I will leave you with the last, most important, most powerful thought. We're going to rub our hands together again. And up, and left, and then right, and then front, and then hands apart. I'm going to count to 3, and this time we're going to do it together. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. If we can stay together like this, it's not only the visually challenged, you can truly start seeing the things that so far you have not seen. Thank you very much.